Let's check in with our panel, Brit Hume, Dana Perino, and Harold Ford Jr. You know, it's interesting for the call, Brit. Obviously, it happens very early. Number of networks, including Fox, making that call.
AP.
We have AP, Associated Press. We have the Fox News voter analysis, along with the Associated Press, this rolling poll of caucus goers, as well as the raw total of votes coming in. Once that was overwhelming on the analysis of that, we could make the call. In the caucuses, when the doors close for the caucuses, that is when the official time is to be able to characterize the race. And so that's how that develops that early. Again, there's a lot of controversy around it because people were inside and obviously had their phones. But that's how the rules go for Iowa.
Well, and you also have to, the reason why people worry about calling these races too soon is that in some places people haven't voted. That makes a lot of sense in a general election where people walk in, they cast a ballot, and they leave. And if they hear about it ahead of time, they may decide not even to bother. But we're talking here about people who come out on a cold night to gather at a caucus site, and the doors have closed, and nobody can get in, and so their opportunity to vote remains. It's hard to believe that very many people would say, "Oh my goodness, the race has been called. I'm going home." I don't think so. So I think it's the impact of it seems to me to be the premise is doubtful.
And then, what's your overall impression of the night and this big win? We don't know how big, but it's going to be significant.
Well, let's not forget that second place has led to a lot of people winning the nomination in Iowa. After Iowa, you finish second in Iowa, it's worth something. There are a lot of places where it wouldn't be, and in the coming races in the future, it won't be as much. But out here, you win second, you survive, you go on, and who knows, you might win a nomination. A number of second-place finishers have.
So George W. Bush, Dana, the only Republican to win here, and then the nomination and the presidency. So it's actually quite rare to win in Iowa and go on to the presidency.
But interestingly, in that case, he won in Iowa. They go to New Hampshire, and he got trounced. So then it was a race to South Carolina. So I don't necessarily think that's going to happen this time around. And I understand the frustration of people on the voting thing, and perhaps the rules need to be changed. And that is something that they can consider for next time around. But I actually don't think that the result was going to be that different. President Trump had this commanding and enduring lead for so long. But you do have to think about how Iowa as a state has been doing. They have a very popular governor. The economy is pretty good. The ag sector doing very well. Of course, that's super important here. Unemployment rate very low. Their concerns, if you look at that voter analysis, are on a national level, and their worry about the country as a whole. That's very much top of mind for people. Immigration has shot up to the #1 issue in the last 6 months. It was the economy for a long time. It's not that people aren't still worried about the economy, but the immigration issue has taken over that. I'm curious what the Democrats are thinking today. If you're in the Biden White House in the campaign and listening to some of these voters that our reporters are talking to, very interesting, very thoughtful, very wise, but they're worried about the direction of the country, and they'll have a fight on their hands.
You know, Harold, for very conservative, somewhat conservative voters, Donald Trump wins exponentially. Nikki Haley does better with somewhat conservative voters, but the same lane for Ron DeSantis is the same lane that former President Trump is in. And in this look at this, he's getting trounced.
So this is a good night for Donald Trump, needless to say. You think about it in two parts. One, he had a better organized campaign this time than he had times before. You see it on the ground, you hear it on the ground, the demographics, how he performed shows that. Two, he was able to withstand Governor Reynolds not endorsing him. And a set of pointed attacks here in the last week or two from DeSantis and Haley. They went after him more so than they've gone after him at any other time during the campaign. Not only was he able to withstand it, he was able to overcome in a big way. The last time, the biggest margin of victory for a Republican was in 1988. Dole beat Robertson and H.W., who went on to be president, beat him by 13 points. It's hard to imagine, and Britt and I were talking about this earlier, there's not a lot of time between now and New Hampshire. Can someone develop some momentum between now and there, as you were saying as we were upstairs having dinner? I'm not sure, and especially if that person you got to overcome is Donald Trump. So if he's able to take this momentum and compete, if not win in New Hampshire, we're setting ourselves up for the longest general election campaign the nation has ever seen. And to Dana's point, everyday issues matter the most. People think our politics, our border, our schools, our workplaces, our places of worship are broken. and they want to see someone who can fix it. Don't be a savior, but figure out how you can fix it. That's going to be the person that wins the presidency.
Not only that, the legal troubles for the former president, they have only supercharged his base and the voters here in Iowa. I mean, Britt, really quickly.
Well, it kind of remains to be seen whether if there's a conviction on one of these counts. I don't want to forge a guess as to which one it might be. It's not entirely clear whether that will continue the momentum or whether that will arrest it. That's something we have to watch throughout this whole season. We'll be covering campaigns and trials.
Yes, we will.
Yeah,
Together.
exactly.
Well, it's a pivotal night in Iowa. We're waiting to hear from the candidates, including the former president. He's scheduled to speak, I believe, at 10:20 or around there. Kellyanne Conway, Karl Rove will join us as our special coverage continues after this.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.